2024 meeting. Call the meeting to order at 6:42, 5:42, I'm sorry.
5:43 or 5:42.
5:42, yeah. Okay. Everyone has had a chance to meet Marjorie? Yep. Okay, welcome
Hello.
Marjorie. We're excited. Do you wanna tell us a couple of minutes about yourself, what you do, why you wanna hang out with us?
Well, I've been in town for about 20 years, so I've raised my kids here, so that's how I know you.
Yeah.
And I've been to some of the meetings that you've all put together. Taste of
Yes.
Hubbardston last year, which was the last one you held.
Right? And you were also at our first one,
That is correct.
remember?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is correct.
One of 5 people.
And I'm also a local realtor. So I love data. I love everything I can read. So, and I get very much involved.
Good. Well, welcome.
Thank
I'm really glad that you're gonna be working with us. Okay, so, first on is to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, but that was a meeting that we tagged on to planning board with, so there's no minutes from that meeting. Is do I do a motion on that when we're not approving any minutes, cause there are none, so there's, okay. Everybody got a chance to look at the agenda? Any questions about the agenda? So we'll start with old business, and wanna come up with another date to do in July, some more business tours. I know we've lost 1 or 2 businesses.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Katie, you and I can put our heads together. I came up with a couple of ideas. I wanna run them through, or with you,
Okay.
so we can make contact and go from there, and then we'll give Nate maybe about 2 weeks' notice
Okay.
to do that. Marge, we go out hopefully once a month,
Mhm.
try and hit 2 places, usually on like a Wednesday morning, 10:30ish, cause some of our businesses don't open until 10. We just go and visit, talk with them, ask them how we can help them, share some ideas with them, ask how the community is supporting them and like that. We always have to worry about quorum. Typically Katie and I have gone out since the beginning and done them. Nate is joining us now. And so, but if you ever wanted to jump in, one of us will jump out.
We can have 3.
Right, but if Nate's coming, you and I.
Nate doesn't
I
count.
do not count.
Oh, you don't? I'm sorry.
I'm officio,
Yes, thank
I'm
you.
staff.
He's
Yeah, okay,
paid.
thank
Sure.
you. Yep, that went like right over my head.
That's okay.
So anytime you'd like to join us,
Absolutely.
feel free to, okay? We have fun, we take pictures and talk with the folks and get some good feedback. And kind of, we've never really gone anywhere and got any negative feedback, to be honest. I can't remember that ever happening.
I believe I had a discussion with you one time about is there like a website or a list or something of all the businesses in town? I believe there was once.
There's multiple
Yeah,
lists.
there's a couple.
Yeah, we have a master list, but I've been working on it for the last 2 years, adding, because one of the problems that we originally encountered was that they didn't have any way other than their phone number.
Yeah.
There were no emails connected to the businesses, no social media addresses connected, and we did a motion, got approval to have that changed the next time they were reprinting the business certificates or applications, rather.
Didn't I send you a new DBA list right before Candace left with emails and a couple more things in it?
Yep,
Okay.
and so that's another one that's generated, and I
Yeah.
send, when I get like a good solid amount, I
'Cause-
send them over to the clerk.
Cause that was decently detailed.
Yeah.
From what I remember, I haven't
Yeah.
opened it since then.
Yep, and then she just adds those things in, so it's growing, but,
Where can I have an access to that?
well, it's,
Is it online?
it's not online, that
That's
I
because
know
I've
of, it's
looked.
not online.
And I
Yeah.
haven't.
So you would either ask the clerk for it, or I can get you one of
Yeah.
what's
that'd
the
be
most
great,
recent one, okay?
Let's
And-
do that, cause I'm uncertain if Melody's gotten to the DBA
Mhm,
part yet,
okay,
so it
So-
likely won't be different from when we shared it.
okay,
And it's a public record.
oh, yeah,
So the Facebook business page I see floating around is not anything official?
The EDC page, like.
No.
No, she's talking about
The
the
business page.
Hubbardston business. Yeah, no. That's nothing official. It's like Hubbardston people. It's nothing official.
Okay.
come up with any ideas. I think kind of, we've almost gotten to where we've gone to every retail spot that we have. I don't know that there's any other brick and mortar, there's a couple left.
Well, there's like, I don't know if you wanna,
Be careful.
what?
No.
So we do have a couple, pop-ups of new places that have, things at the end of their driveways,
Mhm.
like farm stands
Yeah.
and bakery things. There is a new farm
Yes,
that took over from where Sweet Pumpkins was.
right, yeah,
They're open.
okay.
I haven't made my way down there yet.
I would love to, I would absolutely love to.
Where's that?
Where the big one at the end of
George Howard.
George Howard Road. They have a website.
Okay.
They are open and selling things. I haven't ventured out that far yet.
Yeah, I don't go that way.
Kathy's open on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yep. Yeah, well, we could do
I'm
it
there
a
like
different
every day though, cause my kids work there, so.
Okay.
Just drive in, throw the kids out, leave.
Take off.
Yeah.
We could switch up to Friday if that works
Well,
for Nate also.
we might be
Oh,
able to
no.
go during the day
Yes,
too,
I
like during the week,
know. Okay,
cause she doesn't have to have her shop open.
that's true.
Friday is a
visit.
good day for me too.
Okay, so we'll figure that out in the next week or so and get that going on, go to Kathy's.
Yeah.
I'd like to, maybe look at, Tiny Toes, Big Bows?
Tiny Toes, Little Bows.
Little Bows, yeah.
Yep.
I haven't seen their vignette change much over the last couple of months, so I was wondering if they were still using that and if that was an indication of, you know, if they're still running the business from there, but I'd like to go there and.
Yeah, they constantly.
Okay,
there,
okay, so I'd like to visit with them, and I know she does some other great works also with some of the babies in the hospital,
Mhm.
hospitals, and I'd really like to, you know, have a little bit of information about that, I think it's
Alright.
important for people to know. Were you gonna say something, Nate?
No, just, she reminds me a little bit of Katie, she's got her hands in a bunch of stuff,
Everything,
doing a
yeah.
bunch of stuff, so I can
Megan-
see her being
Megan,
very, very
Debbie,
busy.
yeah,
Yeah.
they usually are, but they'll make time.
Sure, sure.
As long as it's not something that's gonna take over, you
No.
know?
Okay, so we'll do that. Okay. Okay, next on, any questions, any comments, anything? Okay. And then our small business guide, I'm gonna look at Christopher a minute and ask you when you think that might be, I know what I gave you was from the North Reading, which was given to us by Todd Miller. And I know that there was probably a lot of detail that you had to include in it. But do you have a ballpark of maybe when we get that done?
We're completely rewriting our administrative processes for land use,
Okay.
in order to hopefully have them make sense. And so that people will know what they're getting into,
Okay.
ahead of time. We're putting the first administrative rule up for a vote Thursday night. The next set of administrative rules are going to be all the ones about like fees and how applications get handled and all of that stuff.
Okay,
So it would be shortly after that, and I'm hoping to put that on our agenda for not the next meeting, but the meeting after.
okay, okay,
So that will kind of set the facts that you need to make that.
Okay.
So,
okay. And then Nate, I think you said that once it was done, I would bounce it to you maybe for a whole review.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that would be terrific. Okay, thank you. All right.
And as I told you before, and I feel comfortable saying this because she's here, feel free to utilize Tricia in a slight way, like if you need
In a nice way
something.
too. Okay. Yes,
Like
will
obviously
do.
we can't have 10 hours a week going to EDC, but a couple things here and there
Sure.
is perfectly okay.
That'd be great.
she's also a good place to set planning board stuff.
I do.
Yeah.
Have you met Marjorie, by the way? Marjorie, this is Tricia and she,
Nice to
yeah.
meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
It's her first time at our meeting, yeah. All right, that's good, thank you. Okay, and so, next on the agenda is our, Taste of Hubbardston 2.0. It's our second one. It's
Yep.
gotta be bigger and better.
I think it will be, we just gotta open the door.
Yes, yeah, and so, I would like to open up to anybody here who would like to help on the committee, and I do have a couple of outside people as well. who'd like to,
I have a comment.
sure,
We have not met since then, right?
we have
So
not.
I would just like the record to state that you guys did a wonderful job
Thank
with
you.
that. That event was great, a lot of people came, everybody seemed like they had fun, the spread was unbelievable,
Thank
the
you.
article was good,
It was.
everything worked out, I was really happy to see it, but
Thank you
good
very
job
much.
Whitney and people who put that together.
Thank you very much. I thought that we really accomplished what we were setting out to do, because I saw, well, you know, just bringing the businesses together, and then I was so pleased to go into Giacomo's and see that some of Quabbin Woodworks, he's selling his things there. That's exactly what we wanted to accomplish with that, was for for them to network with one another. And I think that more things are happening as well. I noticed that they're also renovating or remodeling. They have a sign at the door at
Oh,
Giacomo's.
Giacomo's, yeah.
Yes. And so perhaps they might even be making room for some other local businesses to sell their wares in there.
Heads up that
What?
that's something else.
Okay. So Katie, would you like to, you know,
Yeah, we have a couple new, food places
Yeah.
that do, like
Yeah.
cookies and like the pantry that does things and stuff like that, so that could be interesting to get those people on board, along with like the, sugar high baked goods and
Absolutely.
things like that, to come and do that kind of stuff to help out with the get their, like, there's food, you know, like
Right.
there's, you'd be surprised, you drive around and there's stuff.
sure, there, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll work on a theme, so you'd like to be on that committee to help us
Sure,
with that?
yeah.
That would be great,
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that. Marjorie, you and I spoke about that, so I'm
Absolutely.
excited about that. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ideas that I have for some things, we'll talk about it, and then maybe introduce them at the next meeting, but
Yeah.
just bounce some things around.
Yeah.
And we'll just make it bigger and better, and with enough notice and enough advertising, probably get 10 times the, I mean, just many more people that came.
Yeah.
And then also, with enough time as well, we could get our vineyard to come, because he would.
That's, yeah, I
He
think
would
that's
have the-
very important.
Yes, and he would have an appropriate amount of time to deal with his insurance and whatever he needs to do to facilitate that, and I think that that would be a big
Yeah.
selling point as well.
What's the targeted date?
September, October.
Did we
Okay.
wanna look into the library again? Cause I know that, in my mind, that was a decent looking thing,
I
like,
love the library, the problem is, it's a maximum of 40 people, and,
okay.
and I think we would run into a bigger yeah,
Absolutely.
and a bigger problem probably, as
See,
far as
every
hurdles, when it
time.
comes to the
Yeah.
liquor. Even though it's a 2-ounce tasting, they just don't, that's town property.
I mean, we can do a one.
Senior deck might be fun.
It will be,
I
should
don't wanna
be.
be careful,
according
though.
to current plans,
Yeah.
Woo, I like that.
it is scheduled to be completed by mid-September.
I know. Let's just see,
There's also, like, we could ask in theory, the Burtons, I don't know
Uh-huh.
if they'd let us, they do have a very nice pavilion that would be all outdoors.
okay,
We have a very nice pavilion as well.
Yes, we do, there's no water though. Well, I don't think there's water at Burtons either, unless you went inside.
I also joined the Rod and Gun Club.
Okay, so we could, in theory, go to
You know how
the,
easy it was,
that
the
would be,
bartender
that
said
would be if we're worried about people.
size,
Yeah,
and they've got everything, and they did, and they've got the liquor license anyhow.
yeah,
Which is
well,
great.
that would be, I don't know how they would feel about, samples
booze.
of, yeah.
But it's
Some-
not being
some-
sold,
Yeah,
True.
somebody else coming in to pour in a licensed establishment is an issue.
you mean it personally or
Yeah.
legally?
They can only pour, under state rules, they can only pour liquor that they purchase from a certified Massachusetts
Oh.
distributor. Although they're a farm vender,
Yeah, so they could do
technically
freeze, like little samples.
2
yeah,
ounces.
they could technically
2 ounces.
provide to the Rod and Gun to provide to, it's the select board's problem, they would have to figure it out. But,
Bounce.
but there are some hurdles that they'll have
Well,
to get
they
through.
may, not want an outdoor
Yeah.
as well. So, and I don't wanna speak for the Rod and Gun at all, because
But
I
maybe
don't
they
know how
wanna,
they would
maybe they
feel.
wanna carry their water.
Maybe they would,
Great too.
maybe, maybe they'd wanna work with them, so I don't know. That's just a hurdle that
Okay.
we would have to make sure we talk about right up from the get-go.
I'm gonna start right now. I mean, I'll start that, you
Yeah.
know,
Do they
this
have
week.
a little outdoor space at all?
They have a parking lot.
Cause I think what is positive about Pinecrest and potentially doing it at the senior center / senior center
'Cause you
deck.
can
In and
go
out.
Be in and out, and
Absolutely.
if weather permits, you can have whomever, wherever.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. We'll work on it.
yeah,
We've got a couple options and that's great. You can't ask for more than that. So
Yeah.
I think that's great. Okay, so thank you for volunteering to help with that. Any comments, questions, anything?
no, just not too late if you actually wanna taste of Hubbardston, include farmers, because you start to get too late, the
Yeah.
crop's done,
Right.
and it's gone.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. I think we're doing pretty good, right, time-wise? I know there's another meeting after this. Pinecrest Lodge, our venue for the last one. So, we need to say thank you to Pinecrest Lodge. It is the second time that they gave us their facility to use. In our Lions meetings, I had noticed and pointed out to Katie that day when she was helping me unload, that the threshold on the bottom of the door is severely, falling apart. I mean, it's just rotted away, actually. Makes the door a little bit difficult to open and close.
Main entrance,
The entrance there at the lodge.
the main entrance.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that we could repair that for them. It's quite an easy thing to do. Mark can certainly oversee it. You're not gonna work on it, cause it's our responsibility to do that. But I did talk with two of their board members, asking them to seek permission from the board for us to do such a thing. And they came back saying that they would really appreciate doing that. So that was an idea of how we could say thank you to them, to do something, you know, it's just a small little job.
I feel like that's a liability that the town
Okay.
doesn't wanna step its toes into.
Okay,
It would also have to be completely funded by the different members and it, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking legally, cause what, if you, when you open stuff up, you don't know what's behind it. And
Right.
none of us are contractors, and I just feel,
well, that's why I thought I'd have Marco oversee it, cause he is.
yeah, but once you open something up, if there's like termites and stuff,
That's true.
now we're like
That's
on,
true.
yeah,
Okay,
it's just, that's a liability,
okay.
you know what I mean? Like
Then
that kind of thing.
Then I'm gonna put it out for some other suggestions about what we can do.
Let's have a more detailed conversation about this offline.
Okay?
Just so that we can
Yeah.
toss a couple ideas back and forth and
No
see what's
problem.
actually
Okay,
Yeah.
not on camera.
gotcha. And I know that Katie and we kinda noticed some other things that they might have.
Yeah, there was some other stuff that might be a little bit more like in our realm to
Yes.
build without a lot of liability and
And
things
we'll
going
discuss that
sideways.
offline. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll discuss that offline for sure. Okay, thank you, good, okay. Anything, Marjorie, anything?
No,
Okay,
we'll discuss it offline, right? So-
Yeah.
yep, okay. Next are
Obviously
available.
not all together as a group and
No,
quorum.
yeah, that'd be.
Right, right.
Yep,
Okay, and next are available spaces for businesses. That's something I'm also gonna talk to Tricia about a little bit. I know that, well, I went up and I, finally got into Breezy Corner and was able to view the locations they had. And they were in pretty good shape. One or two were not, for sure. Kinda used as storage and that kind of thing, but the upstairs was, you know, in pretty good shape. The marvel of it was they were renting it out for a $1 a square foot, and that included all of your utilities. And I thought, for sure, with that in our pockets, or in our, you know, that knowledge, it could be an easy thing to get some of those spaces rented out, to advertise them somehow. And I guess we would have to have a conversation about our advertising them, because, you know, I mean, I've talked to people and they've thought that I'm a realtor. I mean, that actually, it was that woman, the woman who owns that, who, when I explained that we wanted to come in and take a look and see what we could advertise for them through the chamber that had reached out.
We would also have to be very careful about words like advertisement.
Exactly.
We could produce an inventory
And that- yeah.
of all possible land
Exactly.
and or rentable spaces
Correct.
that could be rented or purchased by
Right.
somebody looking to develop, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it would be appropriate
To say
for
we're
us
advertising.
to advertise for
And
anybody.
I was worried about that word. When I was thinking about when the Gardner Chamber had asked for a list of inventory and wanting that they could handle it from that, but we could easily, you know, put something together and still continue to try and find any spaces that might be available, and pass them on.
And the chamber's not a entity of any government. I believe that they're a 501c4.
Okay.
So they are looking for a profit and trying to make a
Okay.
profit, but most of
Yeah.
it's charity driven.
Yeah, if they looking to put businesses in different places that are already members of their chamber,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Mm-hmm, yeah, yeah. Okay,
That may be even something we should talk to Magnus about.
okay,
That tall, bald gentleman that came to the storage facility grand opening.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, incubator,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
okay. Any other comments? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so next is the 2021 community survey results, but the results gave us some good information about our businesses. And Christopher, I'm going to ask you if there was any way, and I'm talking specifically about increasing, because these are the results that we got from our residents, about their willingness to allow for more than 20% of the space, which is for a home-based business. Can we increase that? And resounding yes. Fair amount. Increasing from more than one non-resident assisted employee to be able to be employed, that had a bigger response. Are these things, Christopher, that we can work on without having to go create a bylaw for it? Can we substitute the numbers in the current bylaw? Are we able, no, we're
It
not
has to
able
go to
do that.
town meeting,
Has to go as
Yeah.
far as town meeting.
but we don't have to rewrite the whole damn bylaw, you can just,
Change your number, 2/3 vote.
yeah,
Right,
but it's still, yeah, it has to go to town meeting,
wow.
yep.
Yeah, go through a whole public hearing process and everything.
Okay,
And these changes are certainly on the planning board's agenda,
Okay.
assuming that I maintain the chairship at the next meeting. Because we're due for our reorganization meeting since the election just happened.
I see.
We've certainly received some mixed feedback from the public when we have floated those issues as a board, although the board itself is generally in favor of expanding those restrictions quite significantly. There's a question on what the level of public support will be. The board would support just not having them, but that's not gonna be palatable to the public.
Not having any restrictions.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting, though, that in the survey, it was positive, and yet, I guess in public hearing, or, you know, in conversation or showing up at meetings, not so much.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this had, 508 people?
Yeah.
There's never been 508 people to show up to a town meeting as far as I'm aware of.
No.
And 529,
Great.
15% being Hubbardston registered voters, so it's that 15% of that 529, which would be 75,
So,
about
yeah.
83, the 83 Hubbardston registered voters. It's really ultimately their opinion that matters on that.
Yeah, the people that took the survey aren't necessarily the ones that actually show up at town meeting, so, usually they are, but those people usually do surveys, at least I feel they would be more likely to, but who the hell knows, cause it's a survey, you never totally know who actually takes them, so.
And honestly, things at a town meeting can turn depending upon who shows up, not
course.
just from the public who shows up,
Sure.
if anybody who's supposed to be there to advocate for any particular issues has like a work commitment and can't make it, that can have a pretty big impact on how things go.
How do you know that?
I don't know. So, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot to get it done.
Right, right. Okay.
So yeah, those are all things the planning board's looking at, and frankly, we're looking at essentially doing a recodification of our zoning to bring it to modern zoning
Yes.
standards, cause everybody else does a zoning table these days,
Mhm.
even other small towns.
Mhm.
As opposed to having everything written in long form in the bylaw. And modernizing our map would make a lot of sense, because one of the things that came out of the listening sessions and the public hearing for the bylaw is a lot of the comments centered around the fact that although our map is all one big residential agricultural zone, that's not at all how people think or feel about it.
Right,
So,
Right.
The reality of people's perception and the reality of the map are very much out of alignment. So there's a lot of really hard things that need to happen there, and a lot of those really hard things need to happen at a town manager or a town administrator and paid staff kind of level. And we have gone out for grants for all that stuff, but
Right.
it's a slow motion thing.
so we also should kind of wait to see what planning board decides about some of these things, what direction they're going in.
If it was just up to the board, I
Right.
think the board would vote unanimously to extend a commercial zone border to border on Route 68.
Right,
But we're only gonna put out what the public will support.
right,
And that used to be the commercial zone. The commercial zone used to follow 68 through town. And it was subsequently reduced for a litany of entertaining historical reasons that I'll spare you from.
okay. I mean, there hasn't been any businesses that have said that these restrictions have affected them. That I know of, nobody's ever mentioned that to me, where these restrictions have hurt them in any way.
Which ones?
As a pragmatically, they either engage in strategic non-compliance or they
Fancy.
don't open up a business and they just never talk to anybody. And we've had at our public hearings people who have said it has affected them and the decisions that they've made. And the other part is we don't appropriately fund enforcement. So,
Right.
those folks who engaged in strategic non-compliance are still operating under those strategies.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, 'cause there's a whole host of businesses in this town that I guarantee have more than 2 employees that are not related to them. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And there's not, prove it. Like, it doesn't
Sure.
even make any sense, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's, you can't prove it, you can't, unprove it, it's just like,
yeah,
yeah.
Well, the way they do it is to prove it, you just have the building commissioner drive by a couple times on a couple days and just count cars, write down license plate numbers.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of businesses that wouldn't even fall under that, because they're like a landscaper.
Yeah.
Or whatever, so the cars aren't gonna be there, cause they're driving trucks, you know what I
That's-
mean, like, it's,
Not conducting business on site then.
but it's still, they're, like, it's one of those, like farmers and things like, how do you
function with one employee?
yeah, how do you run a
Seriously.
farm,
Yeah.
one employee?
With one employee, that's,
Good
you
luck.
know, yeah.
It's just, like, it doesn't even, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll address it when the time is right and get it up there and like that. And that would be, Christopher, part of a zoning bylaw? That would be a zoning bylaw?
Yeah, it would be,
You'd be looking to put other things under that same zoning bylaw at the same time?
it's gonna depend upon what turns out on the grant front.
Okay,
Ultimately, what we need is a full recodification of our zoning to modern standards.
mhm,
I don't know that we'll get grant approval for that, pragmatically, we'll just start picking away at sections
Okay.
and do it that way.
And we took a real kind of good shake at the Community One-Stop grants this year. Patricia and I both took a good amount of our time and bandwidth to apply for these things where we're still not up to par with some of the communities that can have 10 people and an engineer working on their grant applications, but I think for what it is and for the staff and bandwidth we have, we
Mhm.
put together some decent applications.
Super.
And we should hear back one way or the other within the next couple months, probably
Okay.
closer to the fall.
Okay, good. Any questions or comments? Anybody wanna add anything? Heard from you, Marjorie. No.
I'm just bunching away.
Okay. All right, and then we'll, that's that, okay. So, seeing that a couple of our projects that we had been working on the past couple of years have been, postponed a little bit. It's, some things going on, right? That's a nice.
Putting it mildly.
I know, I'm trying to be nice. So, you know, I do check in with, neighboring towns as well and their economic development and all of that. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I think Christopher actually, you'll see that this had been on the agenda for quite some time, and then afterwards, we got that, you know, the bit of the master plan, and some of this was mentioned in it, and that was about tourism, efforts for tourism. Westminster has put out a very nice, we looked at it one time many, years ago, they put out a new pamphlet, if you will. A lot of keys to it, colored graphs and whatever, it's rather large when you open it up, we wouldn't need anything like that, but I think that it would be a good idea to maybe, work on some tourism efforts, whether that's rack cards that can be distributed, maybe in local hotels, because we're not fighting with we don't have a hotel, so we're not competing with hotels. Perhaps if there are local, places to rent cars, and because people are just gonna come and tool around the area or whatever, for the weekend, we can have something there, even some of the airports. Or any ideas that anyone else has. I thought rack cards are fairly easy, fairly inexpensive to do. And a lot of places like having that, fill up the slots, that kind of thing. But I know that there's also a lot of other ways to get some, some tourism. And so I'd like for people to share some ideas, think about some ideas, how we wanna, go about that, but I think it's a good time for it. There are other things that we're actively every single day rewriting and doing. This is something that I think everybody can have a piece of and actually maybe even have some fun doing it. What does anybody think about that? About
It's a good idea. I mean,
heading for some tourism?
you can actually create one online with barcodes. People can just take a phone and it's online. It can be updated easily.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You know,
yeah,
it's cheaper, no printing necessary.
right.
So yeah, that can definitely be done.
You've worked with, and I've worked with Johnny Apple, whatever, magazine. I mean, that's the other thing. There's so many, especially sports clubs and things like that, bicycling clubs and rowing clubs and whatnot, that not only do they like to be able to go somewhere as a group for a weekend or whatever, but their publications that they send out amongst their members and even just to the public are oftentimes looking for things to put on their calendars in their magazines, and also content for their publications as well. So we could speak with some of them and put a, kind of nice write-up in some of those things, inviting people to come and spend a couple of days here. That's an idea. And the other thing is the town, the ranking websites that I gave everybody, a list of a few of them. These are websites that, well, they do, like I said, town ranking. And they can be anything from just a very simple, schools are far away, shopping is great, to having people write in and give a narrative. And so I've spoken with some of them about getting us on that list, and also remember that you don't necessarily have to be doing a search on Hubbardston for Hubbardston to show up. Just like if you looked on Airbnb for Hubbardston, they might show you 2 or 3, but then it's gonna bump you to Westminster, because that's a close town and like that, so people, go ahead.
When thinking about advertising and branding to that nature, has this group ever sat down and kind of made a rubric on what should be the main focus? Cause you can get lost in, oh, we have this, where
Sure.
maybe we could pick 3 things,
Yes.
like, oh, come here for recreation, come here for where the hell is Hubbardston hashtags, come here for, yeah, so.
My thing has always been, I've looked at this as like a sportsman's or a sports person's mecca, because there's just everything you could possibly want. Plus the ski resort. So it's actually year round, and I think that that's something we should tap into, and I think that Katie and I from the very beginning have been very favored towards tourism, agritourism and that kind of thing. I think that's definitely one of those categories that we should, whether it's farm days for the families and all of these things that you could do, but again, there's been so much turnover.
Yeah.
The only 2 that have been here forever are you and
Well,
me.
not forever, but yeah,
Well-
we've been, from the beginning, it's agritourism and ecotourism, because that's basically what we got.
That's what we
And
have to
that's
offer.
what's awesome about this town, and in my time here I've realized it, this is one of the most self-aware communities I've ever seen. The town knows what it is,
Yeah.
it's okay with it, it
Yeah.
would be more, but it's okay, it's very self-aware
Yeah.
as a community.
But I agree with you, yeah, maybe to earmark or pinpoint 3 particulars or whatever, and, focus on them, absolutely.
You did raise your hand, did you have something, or
Yeah.
was it like
Don't.
gone long ago? Okay.
Don't worry
All right.
about it.
Well,
I didn't
Don't
see
worry
you,
about
I'm
it. It's
sorry.
okay. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, so these are a couple of these websites, and if, I don't know, I thought maybe, each one of us can write up a little narrative or whatever, and then we can send them on in and see where we end up, on that when you go into the website, see, how close to the top we pop up and what kind of information. But you can look at them on your own and see which ones have more of a detailed narrative, or one that needs to be, or they like it written by a resident or even a visitor that came, as opposed to those that are just kind of generated, 6 miles to the nearest whatever,
Yeah.
kind of thing, It could really change the way people look at the town. I mean,
so do you go to okay, I got questions.
sure.
So, in order to find out information about the town, you go to these websites?
You could do that, yeah.
So that it's not like you put in Google and these websites pop up?
Well, you actually could do them both ways. I mean, like Sperling's, you could go right to Sperling's Best Places, and they're gonna give you,
Okay.
compare.
Cause I'm like, no offense, I've never heard of any of these
I
before,
thought
so
you
I'm
were
like, I don't even know
talking-
what they are.
I thought you were talking about the clickbait, like 5 towns with the worst roads in Worcester County. Like, those.
Do not put us on that list, damn
No,
it!
I'm not on that list.
Do not put that out into the
No.
universe, Nate.
Yeah.
No.
You're nuts, we're finally fixing
Yeah.
dogwoods.
No, not at all.
No, that's because I was really in my mind going like, why should
What is
I
she
wanna go? I don't wanna go
doing?
mess with those people.
What is she
Like,
thinking?
Take my flip-flop off and hit you.
No, these things will even, like if you went in and you just did a Google on, I don't know, Nashville, I don't know, wherever.
So when you refer to town ranking website, what are these just?
Because
like-
they give kind of a town ranking. Some of them do town rankings, and so some of them do like,
Who does the town
Home
ranking?
Snacks, I think, is one of them that, and it'll give the town an A, a B, a C.
Oh, I
Based on
see.
what-
It's like
Okay.
both grades, but for
I thought we were
towns.
competing. Like, it was gonna be
No.
like Sterling 2. Like,
No,
I
no,
have no idea.
That's why I think everybody should, just take a look at them and see what they can, see for themselves. Niche is one that's very, very popular. Sometimes when you just put in the name of a town or something like that, why are you smiling? Is it up?
No, the whole thing was making me think of the Simpsons episode about the monorail. But, yeah.
Random.
Yeah, no, the other thought is I think the
where my mind goes.
lowest
Simpsons.
effort, highest impact thing that we could do
Yeah,
is help other people, like some of these business owners and some of these people who have these places, become computer literate enough to claim their profiles on TripAdvisor and Google
Yeah.
and those places. And just by claiming their profiles and making that information accurate, it'll automatically update to all of these databases that all of
Right.
these search engines are
Right.
using.
Right.
In a way that would probably be more prolific than doing some of these lists. But it would result in a direct impact, but it would be really a project where we'd be enabling people on how to use some of this stuff.
right?
Because
You'll probably need to have a clinic to show people how to do their Google profiles.
yeah, because it's kind of a generational thing too. Like if people are under like 50, like I live my life one calendar invite to another, and when I need something, I ask my phone where it is.
Mhm.
So and especially when traveling, like I pick a couple ideas out of TripAdvisor, or if I see
Mhm.
anything interesting on Google Maps.
Right,
So those are really impactful
okay,
to businesses where you have people coming through who are transient, because they're what the voice search on your phone goes to first. So
right,
Well, especially if they're coming in for something very specific, like, say, Rieta Ranch. People know Rieta Ranch. They have no idea Hubbardston.
Yeah.
But they know Rieta Ranch.
right,
Yeah.
So if they're coming into Rieta Ranch and they want breakfast.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or they need to stop for gas or something like that, or like, oh, we're going to Rieta, it's a beautiful day, I wonder if there's strawberry picking somewhere, whatever, like, in order for them, some of our businesses, I understand what he's saying, some of the
I do
businesses be able
too.
to pop up.
I do too, and I agree. My only thing I'm wondering about, and it's just because of our experience even going on our business tours,
Mm-hmm.
is how open are people going to be to us doing that?
Well, but at this point, most of these businesses like have met us, like,
Right,
we are not new anymore.
and we're
Like,
not to
we're
be
not,
scared of.
yeah, and
Right.
they're not standoffish to
Right.
us,
Right.
as a town entity, because they've,
Gotten over,
that we're not there to like tax them on stupid crap,
Right.
you know?
And not to mention that Google profiles literally work by having people review you and
Mhm.
giving you reviews, and that's what's gonna
Right.
put you out there.
right,
So, for that generation that doesn't know how to do that,
Mhm.
The town will have to hold a clinic to actually teach them and set them up, and just kind of know how to use it. And that's gonna be the challenge, because they are going to be, every time you put in a profile, and that's per search engine, not just Google, you'll have to go to Yahoo and create it will depend
right,
how much you want to expand that.
right,
And, it is very important for them to know that,
Ask Jeeves.
direct your clients to review you, so
Would you
that,
like to volunteer to kind
Sure.
of take that on? I think that would be terrific.
So I would suggest that this is probably something we could pretty easily partner with the Chamber of Commerce on, because they're gonna have somebody who's an expert on it.
Okay,
Or Magnus,
Yeah.
circling back to
Okay.
that, 'cause he's
Well-
been doing a lot of that kind
Okay.
of clinics.
And if they have someone who is a member that is an SEO specialist,
SEO, search engine optimization.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
they would be willing to put on a clinic for free in order to try to attract business. It's like having a lawyer come in and do a wills night to talk to people.
okay,
So that would be a good avenue to be really impactful and
Okay.
not create a huge lift for us.
okay, I like that.
And while we're in this space, I would love nothing more than to have the EDC make up some more stuff to put on our town website,
Okay,
so.
Okay.
I also got a message from my domestic manager, and I'm gonna have to leave in 5 minutes.
Domestic manager. Would that be Heather?
Better be.
Yes, she has a Paxton meeting tonight.
Okay, sure.
Again? Okay.
That time of year.
Yeah.
I know, it's horrible. Like, ugh.
Okay, so Nate, could you work with Marjorie about those people with the chambers to, be in touch with and all that
Absolutely.
and get going on?
Sure.
I would love that, that would be great.
Isn't
She's
there-
very good at it.
Isn't there a Chamber of Commerce thing at Wachusett in like 2 weeks? Is it the 28th?
Which chamber? There's a
I
couple
guess
of
so.
them.
Wachusett
It's
what?
Hubbardston, it's Gardner, it's
Is
That's
it
great.
Gardner Chamber of Commerce
It's-
or the
oh gosh,
the
I
other
had
one?
the flyer on my desk.
North
North Central.
North
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 Central.
Central.
Okay, so it's North Central.
And they're doing like a event up at Wachusett Mountain and
They usually do. They have like usually once a month they have a thing.
There's something.
There's something.
There are a lot of emails.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
I'm well aware.
I got the flyer handed to me and I
Yeah, I know.
handed it to him and I was like, do we
Yeah, I
need to go
know.
to this?
Yep.
Okay, that's terrific. Can you,
Get you the flyer?
yes, please.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it's open to the public, obviously, right?
I think you have to buy a ticket.
Okay,
I
that's
think it's
fine.
them raising funds or whatever. It's just,
I have no idea.
I went to pick up my order at Staples and he thought it was mine as well because it said Hubbardston on it and he prints so much stuff for me and he was just like,
Okay.
"Is this yours?" I was like, "No, not mine." He's like, "Well, take a flyer anyways." Oh, okay.
Are you talking about the thing at the Wachusett Business Incubator where they have the free food in the open bar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah, I think it's the 28th. That date sticks out in my mind, but I'm just not 100% sure, so don't quote me on
And
it.
we are a member of that, so if anyone.
That's a Friday, the 28th.
Then that would be probably it.
Okay.
It says that on the flyer.
Okay.
Free food, open bar.
Free food, open bar.
It's like a food shop.
I know. Just drop me off. Pick me back up later.
You don't have to twist my leg. Okay,
As long as no one ends up on the ski lift.
okay, I think that's it. Last on the agenda was the town ranking websites. So,
Okay.
Any community concerns? Anybody have anything to talk about? Community concerns? Go ahead, please.
Where are we with the new yet aging master plan? On a review basis? Are you still waiting for?
So I just got back some really good feedback actually from the
Affordable housing?
Affordable Housing Committee.
Yeah,
And
oh,
they're meeting, I believe, next week again to
We
talk
have a
about.
lot to say, yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree with everything that was submitted, because yeah, the report is chock full of typos, from MRPC, which isn't great. But it does miss the boat on how people's work patterns have changed since the plant got started. And ultimately, that's really had a pretty huge impact on Hubbardston, and it's going to change things a lot more. Because now that people only have to commute to their job a couple days a week, it completely changes who's willing to move out to Hubbardston from the city. And I honestly don't know how we fix that in that, other than completely rewrite it from scratch, and I don't think that's feasible.
Not at
But
this point, no.
I think we get a Word copy, and we put together a working group, and by we, I'm also looking mostly in your direction.
I
We
can-
put
I
together-
can-
We, as in we, I mean you.
Yeah.
Like-
And
As long as
and
it's
that
not-
we just rewrite some sections of it based upon how things have evolved since there, based upon the feedback that's come back from some of the boards and committees, because they did the research in 2017 and 2018 before COVID, and the change in people's working habits has caused real estate values here to almost double since then.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a
So-
10-year anniversary party in a couple of years for working on the master plan.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
gonna be a really good time.
Yeah.
Sure. It's been, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure, and I'm sure we could get, if we have specific technical questions, I'm sure MRPC will answer them for us in a timely way. But as far as some of that stuff, honestly, that's not on them to fix, that's on us to fix. So, they don't necessarily have the insight into some of that stuff. We need to tell them how to fix it. And they're also, so short, they did just pick up another couple planners, but they have like a 2-year backlog of work right now.
And while I'm sour on the cost, I do get it. Like, the bandwidth issue and prioritization, we'll get there.
Yep.
Eventually, yes.
No. Need some feedback also from EDC as well. Be part of our, not issue, but, you know, I rely heavily on Katie. I mean, bless her heart, what the
Please
heck.
don't.
I know, exactly, right? Because
I know.
everybody's new, you know what I mean, except for, I think it's important that everybody, you know, has, something to, when I say something, you know, has a project to work on, but I don't wanna overwhelm you. And I think this is what we have right now for our committee, and we'll hopefully expand that.
Thought of an idea.
Go, please.
Will you and maybe you or a business owner come on Hubbardston headlines before the Taste of Hubbardston to talk about it and advertise it?
Sure.
For the 20 people that watch it?
There's more than 20 people.
There's definitely more than 20 people, there is,
I see the
yeah.
numbers on the bottom.
Yeah, for sure.
There's
Yeah.
100 each time. 100 views.
Yeah.
Yeah. They might not watch the whole damn thing, they're like, oh, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's this guy again.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
Next.
maybe, Katie, if the 3 of us could get together to, you know, to talk a little bit about for that, you know, feedback for the master plan, that'll also help Marjorie get a little bit of an idea of what the heck is happening, what we're looking at in the future. I won't tap you out, I
No,
promise, but
trust me, I've
yeah.
already tapped out long ago,
Yeah.
I'm just running on autopilot.
Yeah, okay.
And if you're ever looking for some riveting reading, the most recent version of the draft master plan is on the town website.
Yeah, I liked it, actually, I mean, I thought, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good information. I thought it definitely followed along the lines in what we've been talking about for a little bit of time, some of the things, and I thought that that was, you know, a good indicator of, you know, we're kind of looking in the same direction. So I was happy about that, and we'll get you some more information. Anything else we can help you with?
And the
No.
goals didn't miss. Like, the goals were in the area of
Yes.
what is correct. A
Yeah.
lot of it was not really connected to those goals, but the goals were appropriate.
Right.
I mean, there's also been such wild changes in state policy since that got started, like the whole MBTA communities thing and
Right.
some of the state mandates and frankly the real estate values, increasing the attractiveness of Hubbardston as a 40B target, like
Mhm.
there are some specific goals that should be in there to get ready for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's coming in. And it's actually part of a lot of political conversations as well, MBTA, we're doing that. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Carries.
Let's
Here we
go.
Thank you.
Aye.